Conservation Committee of November 13th, 2024. At 7 o'clock, we don't know, then 129 South Street, which was continued. We're access road. Well, 4 lots covered in.
Susan, would you like to give us an update of what's going on?
Sure. Hi, I'm Susan MacArthur from MacArthur Environmental Consulting. Also here, remote, at the meeting is Sean Malone from Oak Consulting and Rick Morrill, who is the applicant. And I'm going to turn it over to Sean, who can brief you on what's been happening with the other boards. We're going through this process.
Yeah. Great. Thanks, Susan. Good evening, everyone. So kind of quick update where we are. We got a peer review letter from who was it? DGT, I think is the review engineer, about a month and a half ago. They had a series of comments and questions and requests for additional details. We revised all of our plans. We responded to all of their comments and submitted that to the planning board, as well as I think this commission also got a copy of that about a month ago. We then had a meeting with the planning board about a week or so after our response was submitted. At that meeting, there was not additional kind of comments from the review engineer at the time, other than some verbal communication with Mike Antonellis. And at that meeting, it was discussed that they were, comfortable with most of the responses. They had a couple lingering questions. We haven't received those in writing. But at the end of that meeting, it seemed that the majority of the planning board was comfortable with where we're at. And one of the big questions, there was two things actually I wanted to discuss with the commission tonight. There was one question about the width of the roadway coming from the fire department. And it was thought at that time that we might have to widen the roadway from the 22 feet that we are proposing to 26 feet, which is the town standard. We had subsequent discussions with the fire department about that. And at that meeting with the planning board, the fire department was present and did indicate that they were comfortable with the 22-foot roadway as proposed, in light of the applicant agreeing to make the improvements, the dry hydrant they were looking for at the Taft Pond. So the fire department was good. So we do not have to change the roadway. We do not have to change the layout. There is no additional impacts that would be required other than what's been presented to the board, with one exception. There was one other comment from the peer review engineer about site distances. And when we went out there and looked at it, the view to the north is great. The view to the south, there's a little mound of soil and a couple trees that are kind of limiting the site distances. So in our revised plans, and if I may, I can share my screen and show you the change. So this is the view south in red, and this is the image here. So in order to provide the adequate site distance, we need to remove, it's, I guess, 5 trees or 4 trees. This is a double oak here, a single oak here, a single oak here, and a pine tree here. And on the site plan, these are all located outside of the 25-foot, but kind of outside of the 50-foot as well, but in the buffer zone, as well as removing this little mound of soil. So we have included that in the updated buffer impact plan, and also included that in the calculations here. So basically, I think we're at the end of the road here. We have a meeting. We were not able to meet with the planning board last night because of town meeting, so we were pushed to 2 weeks from last night for our next planning board meeting. We are expecting them to close the hearing at that time. And we're not proposing any changes. So at this point, I guess if there's any other questions from the commission, anything else that the commission needs, that's what we're asking, but we think we're at the end here.
Mary, do you remember this?
No, I looked at the changes due to the sight lines and that seemed fine. Didn't have any issues with that.
So that meeting will be just before, I think the day before your next hearing for the Conservation Commission. So I guess we would request that maybe at that point, the commission have a draft of the order of conditions ready. And either, I don't know if you typically go over it at the hearing or you just issue it, you know.
I think with this, we would probably go over it at the hearing and hopefully send you a draft ahead of time. Our next meeting is not till December 11th, I think.
Oh, okay.
Because
John,
of
when's the next planning board?
It is what, the 26th?
I think it's a 26.
Okay,
Yeah.
so well before the next conservation meeting.
Mhm.
With that said, will we plan to continue this to the next meeting to discuss?
Yeah, well, because of the dates, once we close the hearing, we have to issue an order within 21 days. So I think we better keep it open
So the next
to the
meeting.
next meeting. But we'll plan on having a draft order. Hopefully we can go back and forth, you know, before, so we'll have a final order ready. We'll have that meeting.
Great.
Okay.
And with the commission, assuming, you know, we work everything out in the meantime, would close an issue on that December meeting?
Yes.
Yes, the close we issue within a few days afterwards.
Right.
Yeah.
Great.
Good job. Thank you. Okay, so Mary, what time?
Oh, 7 o'clock.
We have 7 o'clock people.
Need a motion?
So a motion
Or
to
continue.
get this?
So move.
Second.
All in favor, says aye.
Tom, I. Okay.
Marcella, I.
Sandy, aye.
Okay, that's a unanimous vote of the commission members present.
Thank you.
Great.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank
Thank
you. We'll see
you.
you in December.
Have a great night.
You too.
Saturday Lane, 7:15.
Is it 10:50 now?
It is 7:16.
Oh, okay. Oh, so
Can you turn that down a little bit, Mary? It's-
The volume, yeah, they were a little, it is a little loud.
We have
Let's see if I can
an RDA
turn this down.
for 35 Cider Mill Lane, installation of a fence and clearing of brush. And Mary, can you read that one for us, please?
Yes. Volume could be on here.
Oh,
There.
That way.
you know, it's very dangerous. You
Just don't hit the power button.
Yeah.
Oh, it's random budget.
Yeah, clear on fun, we'll see what happens.
Okay, all right. Notice is hereby given in accordance with the Wetlands Protection Act that the Upton Conservation Commission will hold the following public hearings on Wednesday, November 13th, 2024. It's 7:15 p.m. A request for determination of applicability filed by Timothy Salt for the installation of a fence and vegetation clearing at 35 Cider Mill Lane.
Thank you. Okay, any discussion or description?
Yes, so, Tim, hopefully you can talk by now.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm gonna pull up your application and then I'll pull up my review and you can, once I pull the application up, you can kind of describe your project.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, I'm just gonna bring it to the map because I think that's the most pertinent
Yep.
information.
All right, so that's just the perimeter of the fence there. It's about 50 feet from the markers of the wetland that are already marked there. They're pink tags that say wetland that go around that green perimeter of that SS boundary of the wetland right there. I'm just asking for permission to go within 50 feet of the wetland boundary. It is a significantly higher elevation in that location where the red line where the fence is proposed to be built. There's also a barn that I got approved by Ron DeSantis, the building commissioner. That's going to be several hundred feet away from the wetland. But mainly it's the fence that seems like that's, the part that's within the 100-foot boundary of the wetland. But I'd just be looking to use it as a pasture land for, farm animals eventually in the future. But the fence, I would have to clear some brush to install the fence and then clear out the brush, obviously, within the fenced-in boundary. I'm also seeing if I can get permission to maintain some of the wetland that's on my property to just top it before they grow too tall towards the power lines. I just want to avoid National Grid coming in there and doing it themselves. Sometimes they could be kind of down and dirty and messy about it. So if I were able to do it myself, it just, avoid those guys from getting down in there anyways.
What kind of fence are you putting in?
Just a wooden fence, wooden post fence. The only part in contact with the ground would be the wooden post.
You're gonna be sunken concrete?
Possibly, doesn't necessarily have to be. I haven't really, went down too far to figure that part out yet. But I mean, if it could be in concrete for larger animals, that would be appreciated. But if you guys have an issue with that, I could just do a wooden post in the ground.
What's the topography running from, you said it's a higher elevation. Is the
Yeah.
topography running, so can you give me an idea? I don't really know what that area looks like.
Yeah, so I think the that lower image there, yeah. So it's like a pretty steep hill until you get to the top of the hill, kind of where the barn would be built is like more level, but down in the wetlands is level, and then right after the wetlands, it kind of goes up to a pretty steep incline to the top of the hill. So where the fence would be built, 50 feet from the wetlands, that image there is where the barn would have been. But I don't know exactly like the elevation change, but I would probably guess it's 15 to 20 foot difference from the top of the hill to the bottom.
Okay, my concern being is, you mentioned livestock, you haven't mentioned how many or what they are. It's just, my concern is the runoff from the manure and all that other stuff.
Right.
If you bunch of stuff in there, that can create a problem if you just have one, a couple of sheep or something. I don't think it's a big deal. But
Yeah, I mean, that's all.
I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, no, I understand that. At max, I mean, I'm not ready for it by any means right away, but I would only have probably like 2 cows, a couple of goats, or something like that. It's one or the other. It wouldn't just be a bunch of animals. It'd definitely be limited, just mainly because of the size of the pasture. You really can't have many animals in there.
Right,
Yeah,
and I was just, with the wetland down below it, I was just a little concerned about the runoff into the wetland, that's all.
Yep. And then the barn that's being built is only gonna have, 2 main stalls. And that's it. So if I were to sell the property and somebody wanted animals here, well, they only have a barn that has 2 stalls. So they would have to pull a additional permit or renovation to add an addition to it, and go through the whole process again, essentially.
What's
It's
what's the-
35 feet elevation.
35 feet, so
It's pretty, it is a pretty big. hill.
so the runoff would go down into the wetland.
Mhm.
So is there anything, that can keep the stuff from running in there? Like, I don't know if there's any process, like, would you have to do something down below it, or? I'm
Right,
just
well, I
worried
think it
about.
makes a difference whether it's if you have few enough animals, you can just have a grass pasture and I think it absorb it. But if
Right.
you have so many animals that it's just mud, which some pastures.
Yes, and that's what my concern is. It's a small pasture. And my concern is that it would become mud if he
Right,
has too much in it, and then it just all runs into the well.
What's
Just a
what's the
concern.
soil? Is the soil,
Pretty sandy.
all sandy or?
Yeah, it's very sandy. I'd actually have to get some truckloads of loam and organic compost to grow pasture feed for the animals.
That's
So-
your plan?
What was that?
How you plan to make pasture?
Yeah, my plan is to get pasture feed growing.
Yeah.
And if the runoff is an issue, I could potentially just dig a trench to catch it or have a designated area to dump it. I mean, there's already an existing pasture right next to the wetlands, the neighbor's property there. They have one right there. That's at the lower elevation. So, that pasture essentially is bigger than what mine would be. But, I could have a designated spot when I clean the stalls to put that, manure, maybe make a compost area. But like I said, it's only going to be 2 stalls in the barn. So it's limited to just 2 animals. It'd be a couple of goats or a couple of cows. It's not like you can, add a bunch of cows there if you only have 2 stalls in your barn.
So, how big is that pasture area?
So it would be just over an acre.
Okay. All right, I mean, in general, I'm not opposed to it. I'm just concerned if it becomes this big muddy mess, it's gonna be a problem.
Right.
That's a concern.
Yep. Yeah, I understand.
Marcella actually has her hand up.
Yeah, myself,
Yeah, Tom brought up an issue I had concern about, and I had wondered if maybe we could have, have something on paper like a waste removal plan, not just to move the waste to, another part of the property, but to take it off, take it, a good distance away from the wetland. So I don't know if, that could be done. I would suggest all the different strategies suggested. And I was, the trench is a good idea, maybe some erosion control. But, we get one of these insane weather events and that's just gonna take everything into the wetland. So, that is a concern.
Yeah. So right now, if you look at the top of the access road, where it has that bend towards the horse pasture that's existing there, that's like at the top of the elevation. I could potentially make a drop zone up there for just a compost where I could have, leaves and mulch and food waste, and I could add the manure to it and just have it all as just one big mix. And that would probably be just an idea of what we could do, because it's only 2 animals, so it's not a heck of a lot of manure to control. And the vegetation that's there existing, I mean, National Grid will spray their chemicals and pesticides and herbicides to control it if I don't manage it myself. So I can manage it myself naturally, or National Grid's gonna come in there and, spray all of their chemicals in there to maintain it themselves, which, I'm trying to avoid if I can.
So would National Grid let you do that? Are you allowed to do that?
Yeah, so that's one of the first people I reached out to, Jeff Lottie. He is the head of the National Grid Forestry Department. And he came out to the property and walked it with me and gave me all the limitations. And he actually just appointed me to go to their website, and their website lists what you can do as a property owner with the power lines land. So he basically said I can, do what I want with the land. I just can't build a permanent structure underneath the power lines. But I can have a fence in place. I just have to have a double wide gate big enough for them to get their trucks in if they do need to maintain any of the lines.
Okay.
I don't have any more questions.
I don't need.
Yeah, this is Chris. I have a couple of questions for you.
Yep.
First one is maybe putting a swale in that would catch some of the runoff from the manure area. And also, talking to the Board of Health, they probably are interested in the manure management and how that is done. I don't know if you need a permit or not, the Board of Health.
Yeah, that Laura Head, right?
Yes,
She's actually the realtor that I bought this house from. So in the buying process, we went over all this and walked the property, and she told me I shouldn't have an issue when it comes down to getting that approved for the animals. I have been in contact with her about it, not recently, but when I bought the house, that's kind of one of the first things that we talked about. But I will, once I get past, some of the other parties in here, and I'm going to get her in the loop and, bring back the subject up to her. But the last time I spoke to her, she was on board.
thank you. It would be great to have a manure management plan. Other people that have had horses have always had one of those. So that way manure isn't having water runoff from the site and something of the wetland.
Yeah, I could make an actual documented plan with a designated drop zone on a map if you guys want, just to keep as a record and get it approved with you guys. If you want to go that route, I'm all for it.
That would be great. I'd like to see that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that would be a good idea.
yeah, no problem.
Mary, can I ask you a question? Well, actually, both of you. How feasible would creating a swale basically along the fence, maybe 5-foot pine, grassy swale? Is that feasible to construct something like that here? To capture runoff and filter, do some filtering. It's hard to tell from the
Yeah,
aerial
I
image.
think so. It was, Tim maybe knows better. I mean, certainly the brush in there is very thick. It was a difficult site to walk. And it is a little bit rocky, right, Tim? Some rocks in there.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of tons of rocks. I've already removed some, just clearing out the spot where the barn's gonna go. And it's I have a very big pile already, and I can guarantee there's gonna be a lot more to come if I do start clearing the land out.
Yeah, and I had a question about, because the vegetation in there, you can't really tell, it's pretty high. So how are
Yeah.
you gonna, are you gonna just cut everything? Or are you planning on grubbing some of it out?
So there's some of the bigger like bushes and stuff I was gonna rip out, and some of the other stuff I'm just gonna cut down. And I have a tractor to do it, so I'm just gonna cut it all down, get it down to a height I can use a brush hog, and then rake it all out. And then I'll have to bring in some material to grow pasture feed with, loam and organic compost.
Sounds like you could do something similar to that outside of the fence to make a swale, filter strip.
Yeah, just you're talking past the fence towards the wetlands, just do like an additional like a 10 to 15 foot strip the length of the fence to just catch like a little catch, not a catch basin, but I could probably put some some rocks and stuff in there.
Yeah.
That,
Ideal would be, it would eventually be grassy or herbaceous.
yeah,
Okay. And that,
Yeah, I'd be-
that would, you know, be a more effective filter than the woody shrubs are.
yeah, definitely.
I think would be when you have more concrete information for your project coming back to us.
Sure.
With pictures of your animals.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a long way to get to that point. I mean, I really think it's gonna be like you know, the better part of like a couple years to get the land cleared and then all the grass established appropriately before I could handle the life of any animal there. So it's gonna be, you know, a long process, but you know, I'm just trying to make sure I start in the right location with you guys before I do anything.
Much appreciated. So
Very good.
what's the next step, Mary?
So from what you guys said, it sounds like would like him to come back with a manure management plan
Yeah.
and a little bit more detail. Are you gonna put the posts in concrete or not? And then the swale at the bottom. So if we, you know, if the swale goes on that side, it would end up being 40 feet from the wetland instead of 50. And yeah, so I guess typically we're not really supposed to continue on determination, but with your permission, we can continue it. And our next meeting is December 11th. We have, because we're taking a day off for the day before Thanksgiving. Is that reasonable to you to put a manure management plan together in that time frame?
Yeah, I can do that. That shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah, I just, I don't know if it's appropriate for this particular use, but, we had, somebody, use a post pounder. Put in a fence, fences for us, you know, except for the fact that trees have fallen on them, worked out really well. And so for Tim's benefit, if he's interested, with some guy from Harvard, Mass. Who did the work for us, did a good job.
Yeah,
Name
Yeah,
of the
I'll-
business is Misty River.
What's that?
The name of the business is Misty River.
awesome. I'm gonna write that down and maybe I'll reach out to them. As of right now, my plan was to use a post hole digger and just
Oh.
drill them out.
Been
I
there,
think he's
done
got a
that.
machine.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
I bet you'll hit a rock.
And the post pounder, we got that guy involved because there was no way in hell we was digging that many post holes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, well, I meant like the auger machine that drills the hole, not the actual the shovel-ended hand tool. There'd be like probably 100 posts to do. I'd probably be doing that for 5 years and
Yeah.
we rented an auger at one point and it didn't work, so we ended up digging a bunch of post holes by hand, so.
yeah.
So I think about, how about 7:15?
Sure.
How about 7:15? On the next meeting on December 11th. No, thank you, Mary.
I'd make a motion to continue the hearing on this stuff.
Wait a second.
Second,
All in favor, Chris, aye.
Tom, I.
Sandy, I.
Okay.
Marcella, I.
Unanimous vote of the commission members present.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Thank you guys.
Is it 7?
7:36.
Okay, so we have a request for determination, 75 Elm Street. The land backyard, removal of 20 White Pine.
Notice is hereby given in accordance with the Wetlands Protection Act that the Upton Conservation Commission will hold the following public hearing on Wednesday, November 13th, 2024. At 7:30 PM, a determination filed by Patrick Goncalves, I'm sorry, I messed up your name, probably, for the removal of about 20 trees and the installation of fill at 75 Elm Street. Patrick was gonna be online. Let me see if I can find him. Today, he called me today, he was gonna attend in person, so. He's
Doesn't look like he's here.
not here yet. Okay. So,
It's too early, so then it's.
Yeah.
Well, what's your impression of it, of the project?
Elm Street,
Yeah.
well, this one, I spent a fair bit of time on the report. He has, I can pull it up. He really wants to make a flat kind of yard area for his kids. And his yard is relatively big, but has all sorts of things with it. It's got a pond, it's got steep hill going up to his house. And so there's an area right below the pond that he thought, great, I'll put all the trees down and I'll put fill in there and I'll have a nice flat backyard area for my kids to play that's safe, because his house is close to the road and whatever. But that area is full of skunk cabbage.
Oh.
But it's not conclusive as to whether it's a wetland or not. It's, it's 50% skunk cabbage, tons of red maple, but the soils, sometimes it comes up wetland, sometimes it doesn't. It's really mixed. So I was like getting frustrated with it. And then there's a question of whether it would be isolated. It is right near the pond. And then there's I can show you a picture. Nope, this is 10 Old Grafton Road.
Oh,
So come on in.
You see?
There's some chairs there too. And I don't know where Patrick is.
Sign in as an attendant.
So, but this is the, you can see here's the intermittent stream on this side. This is like it looks like an old road to me. It's like access to the bottom of the pond. And then this is the area he wants to fill. But between, here's the stream and here's the kind of, it's probably isolated, but there might be a pipe under. So we just don't know about that one.
Why do you think there's a pipe under it?
Under the road. Why do I think? there's a
Oh,
pipe
under the road,
Yeah.
under the road, all
So I think
right.
there might be a pipe under the road.
But that's
which
like a dirt road, that's his backyard, that dirt road thing?
Yeah, that's part of his backyard. This is a really old house, like there's like over here, and I didn't include this in the report, there's like a little dam, like it could have been like from the colonial times, there's like a ton of stone. And the pond itself, I don't know how old the pond is, it's been there for a while. And so he would love to, you can see there's his house, he'd love to just clear this whole area out and make lawn. And so I'm finally coming down to, if he wants to do that, I think he just needs to hire a wetland scientist and get that properly delineated, because it's too tricky for me to be able to tell. It could be upland, I doubt it though.
It doesn't look like.
Yeah, and this, you can't really tell from the picture, but the little tiny skunk cabbage.
But way up closer to the house?
Yes,
The
so-
first bunch of trees, I mean, you should be able to get some lawn somewhere.
Well, right, and I told him if he wants to just expand, his yard this way, he could put fill in. There's room in his yard, make a flat area, so he just has to decide. Yeah, we could do that, that's fine. We could just do that under this determination, but if we wanted to do the rest of it, I think he just needs to follow those for 10. Right, but he also wants to remove all these trees. So all these white pines, these. Some of these are the same, those. And
What would you guess the age of most of those trees is? It's kind of hard to tell from the photos what the,
yeah, and here's the.
Diameter.
So this is kind of the view of his yard. So this is the isolated potential wetland, and this 2 lines of trees, the road is in the middle there. These two, he wants to take out 20, which I think is most of these 2 lines of trees, like pines. So that would have a relatively significant, they're not in the wetland, but they're all on the edge, they're on the edge of the bank. So there are some younger trees you can see, not in that picture,
Mhm.
but there's some younger trees that would fill in. Anyhow, like here, you can see there's some younger ones along the edges. But that would be a huge hit to this area to pull all these trees, and they're not necessarily a danger to the house. They're pretty far from the house.
I think I agree with you. It probably needs to file.
Yeah.
Then
Are
we
any of those,
can areas.
are any of those larches? I'm looking at some of the, like, the
Yellow.
the leafy, yeah, the leaf, it's,
Right, I know no, there weren't any larches. These are all big trees are white pine.
okay.
They're all white pine.
I would suggest hiring a wetland scientist and do an NOI. That's a bigger project than you probably looks at it first.
Yeah.
So when we do a native RTA.
Well, I think we should wait till because if he decides, I don't know what you guys think, but if he decides just to put the fill on his lawn, then maybe he could do it under determination. I don't know, you guys have to decide. But if he wants to, and the trees, I don't know. Determination.
Well, he's asking for both. So we have
Right.
to say he'd have to file for what he's asking for. So.
Yeah, I think that's,
So that we have possible determination.
Right.
Requiring he files. We want to all that.
He needs some advice. He needs somebody to tell him.
Yeah, I
Where it
feel
is.
like I think he was willing, the more I talked to him, he's like, well, maybe I could do this. I think he's very wishy-washy on, he had a grand plan, but he didn't really realize the repercussions of it.
Well, he has to make a decision.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, any other discussion?
So,
Okay,
so do we need a motion to issue
Well, why don't do you want to wait to see if he shows up a little late or?
Yeah.
but let's plan on closing it at the end of it.
Yeah.
Tonight. Let's remember to do that.
Yeah.
okay,
Later.
so we'll put this one on hold for now, and it's exactly 7:45 for the request for determining of usability. Old Arthur Road. Yay, so let's say about this one. Fill in installation of a shed to entry removal.
All right, so notice is hereby given in accordance with the Wetlands Protection Act that the Upton Conservation Commission will hold the following public hearing on Wednesday, November 13th. At 7:45 p.m., a determination filed by Pollyanna Freitas for the for the installation of fill at 10 Old Grafton Road.
Hey, so if you'd like to describe your project to us.
Not right now, I think.
You want me to pull the pictures up?
Yeah.
So this was kind of an enforcement situation, and we asked him to file, so the board will need to consider if we want to issue enforcement order or potentially notice of intent, but we started with this. And he has, I'll just pull up what he had submitted, and then I'll show you the review.
So you brought in some fill and what were you trying to do? Tell us what's going on.
Over there, that was close to the driveway, that was large, was a knife and stuff like that, and it's not on the level.
Yeah,
So I just try make a level by the driveway
yeah.
and take the closing knife a little bit out because we have kids and stuff, so we have a lot closing knife on the sun over there. And yeah, and I got on a picture you can see I just filled out that thing. Yeah, so to be level because there was like a really small hill with large wasn't I think large like a wood.
There's grapevines in there.
No, it's no wood, just like a
Brush.
yeah, brush, yeah, something like that. But not the tree, nothing like that, so that was just.
How far from the driveway is it? It's about, how many feet did you wanna make level?
It's so I did about 10 feet.
Bigger than the stable?
Yeah,
Bigger than
probably
this room?
probably large a little bit, not this room, but a little bit smaller. That was. It's like a 10 feet, something like that, 9 or 10. So, and those trees is that one I was talked to Marion
Yeah, he would
about
like to remove
to
some
remove
trees, yeah.
because first of all, it's too big
Yeah.
and too close to the house.
Mhm.
And I was planning maybe not now, but in future we try to do solar panels. And probably they're gonna ask me about this tree, so I wanna figure it out before, because if that's where the sun's going to my house.
Mhm.
And couple trees, too close to the house, so. I don't know if you Mary gets those pictures,
There's
yeah,
that
that
one.
one is too close, that
And
one's
then
like about,
these-
yeah, about 10 feet. From my decking. Those 3 or 4 trees and. I just afraid about this getting big and. Like falling down at some point.
Did you wanna fill in that area where those trees are?
No, just from the tree from inside if I can, because I don't know. Into where we can, but if I can level my yard to be all the same level, that'll be good. That'll be nice for me.
So is it wetland, Mary?
Right, so the wetland starts about where this wood is stacked. Okay, and this is all wetland beyond, so he's very close. I told him I don't think he should be go any further with the fill. Maybe potentially pull some back. There is
I wouldn't mind it, it would be fine taking the trees down, right,
this section, you know, I was wondering if you could maybe pull this stuff out, you know, about a foot away from the shed. The wetland, you know, it's maybe 5 feet away there, but you know, he's already got it in, so you know, that would be up to the board. He wants to remove this tree. If he didn't want to, it'd probably kill it.
Well, it looks like it would jump.
The fill did not go in any wetland, but it, you know, it's close. Would
How
you like to-
close?
I would say 5 to 10 feet.
It's close.
It's close, because the,
Yeah, can't see from the picture, Bernie.
yeah, I mean, in this section, the wetland's probably over here, you know, if there's a little upland in between. I'm standing in the middle of the wetland here, like the wetland goes all the way over,
Yeah, but that tree is all wet.
yeah, so. They can extend, his driveway had gone, I guess you can see maybe in this picture. His driveway only went up to kind of the corner of the house, so he basically
Yeah, that
extended
was
it.
before.
This was before.
Yeah.
He extended it so that it's level with the deck. Yeah, pretty much.
Level,
Or
yeah.
as far back as the deck goes back,
Deep.
right?
Yeah.
As deep as a deck.
A deep as-
Yeah, so.
Yeah. And there was not, I think the closest point to the wetland is in back, the side here, it is, you know, maybe 10 feet away.
Big trees he was talking about, are those in the wetland or?
All right, so the biggest ones,
The four.
so if you're
On the
looking
left
at his
side,
house, so
yeah,
his
yeah.
house is to kind of over here to the left, there are maybe, the wetland wraps around But these
Yeah.
trees are not as close. The other three that were right near the fill,
No.
those are much
The
closer
wetland is about 20 feet or something like that.
from those trees.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right.
When it's summer, I always see some darker. It's about 20 feet, something like that.
Yeah.
And it's about 15 or 20 feet from my house, the first tree over there,
Big oak tree.
the big one.
Yeah, that oak
The
tree is
big
huge.
one, yeah. It's very big.
We'll see it
Yeah.
on this picture. Not really. Anyhow,
No, it's you can see.
they're over here though.
I'm not so worried about the pines, but the oak is pretty.
Yeah, that oak is very big. And you're thinking of putting solar in, right? That was another reason. for-
That's other thing we was thinking about it.
Right.
What is, I mean, it's not something we're gonna think about it, not decide yet, but. We wanna do something to be the home be good. Right? We want to do a lot of stuff to be good because it's, I know it's old house and. Have to do some stuff. But maybe next year or something, yeah.
I would suggest when you cut the trees, you cut them to the ground level and don't dig up the roots. Cause that might make a lot of disturbance. And then are you planning on taking away all the brush?
All those, the tree, the tree. I don't know yet.
Okay. Sometimes people take away the brush and sometimes they take away the brush and the firewood.
Yes, I mean, if we can, maybe some will probably do fire pitch or something like that. I mean, if we keep with them, it's for fire. So. Only I mean, we didn't decide anything yet.
When you cut the tree down right at the ground level and don't dig up the roots, it makes lots of disturbance.
Just leave
The stump.
the stuff. Okay.
And where did you get the fill from again?
It's come from Western, I think. Yeah,
Western nurseries?
Western Massachusetts.
Oh.
It's come from there, so I just find on Facebook, one guy have a clean field. And I just ask him if he can dump, he just dumped out what else.
There's some asphalt.
I didn't see asphalt, a lot of.
No, it's not.
Shallow rock. I
It's
didn't take a good look at it.
just like an asphalt and. Like some stone and stuff like that.
Yes, there's a lot of stone in it.
Shale, it's kind of shallow. It's dark and kind of
Yeah, I
angular.
didn't see any asphalt.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
You don't want that.
No, I don't want anyways.
Yeah, but very, very stony, a lot of stone.
That's clean, Phil? Yeah, I guess. Rocks are clean.
It's, yeah, it's more rocks, not like, nothing like, blocks and stuff like that, so most stone.
Mary, what were your thoughts?
I think, I think the board needs to decide, do we need an enforcement order here? Potentially not. And does he need an NOI because it goes close to the wetland? Potentially. And then I would just approve the removal of the trees. And, you know, I don't think any more fill should go in. And potentially maybe remove some of it, but wouldn't have to. Oh, and then the placement of the shed, I mean, the shed could potentially go a little bit further down the driveway, and you could pull some of that fill out. But you wouldn't, it's not in the wetland, this house is not subject to the bylaw. It's definitely within a 30-foot kind of no disturb area. I didn't think about, we may want to think about bounds or something.
How far is the shed from the wetland?
How far is the shed? I would say approximately 10 feet
From where?
from the edge of the wetland, your shed.
I think it's more.
I think it's more.
Because it's, the shed is like 9 feet from the tree.
That's not-
Yeah, the tree is not a wetland.
And the tree may be 5 or 6.
Maybe like a 5 or 7, something like that,
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I'm okay with what he's done, but I wouldn't want him to expand it.
And maybe pull some of that that's fallen down into the wetland back, pull some of the fill back,
Well, you've got to stabilize it.
yeah.
That-
Smooth
that
it
should
off
be
and
stable.
stabilize it, maybe those rocks could stabilize.
Yeah, the other option, have you thought about putting a wall there on the edge so you can?
Over where, of the hotel?
Yeah, but then you kind of wrapped around, there's a deck there.
I mean, not this year, but
Not
probably,
now, but then you could have a flat area
yeah,
without having to have a slope going into the wetlands.
not this year, but probably next year if we can't fill it, because I see we can fill more to build level. We're gonna have to do a walkway over there anyway, so we have to remove a stump. So we have to do walkway to be in the basement.
Yeah,
Around the,
to get around.
yeah, so probably we have to remove stump to do walkway, yeah, probably. Anyways, but that's something we're gonna do in summer. I need some time to do that.
Need some sun. We appreciate you, Maine.
Right. Marcella has her hand.
Marcella,
Yeah, I was wanting to ask Mary if you see any opportunities there to pull back from the wetland. It seems like the activity is awfully close to the wetland, and if there's anything at this point that could be done to pull back, I think that would be helpful.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could go back, certainly could go back. I mean, the shed presumably is movable. It's not very big. Yeah, I think the fill extends approximately 20 feet beyond where the driveway was. Is that about right? I think that's what.
20 feet from the driveway to the.
From the old
to
driveway to the edge.
No, not that much,
Not that
probably
much.
it's gonna be 10, 12 or something like that, but not that much. It's like a 1 car space,
Mhm.
probably. 1 car space, so it's probably like a 10 feet, something like that. 120 feet to
Well, I'm thinking,
the bushes.
I'm thinking from, actually like from the bottom of this picture to the back. That's what I thought was 20 feet, yeah, on the side.
Yeah, that probably is have a 20 from the driveway end
Yeah,
to the back.
to the back, that's what I thought was
Yeah,
20.
maybe, not 20, but almost.
Almost.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like almost 20, yeah. I mean, it's a flat on the deck. Yes, it's where the deck end, it's where the decks end too, like the fill end.
yep, the fill comes pretty
The
much
same,
parallel to the deck,
same thing is flat, yeah.
same line.
Yeah, from the house, the deck is like a 10 feet from the house, 12 or something like that.
Do you have any pictures of what was there before?
What's that?
Do you have any pictures of what it was like before?
From that part?
Well, how did, like, for example,
Before pictures.
yeah,
I don't know about that part. I have the. Let me see what I have here.
so like it looks like to get to the deck, there used to be a walk. So did the walk extend all the way to the driveway? Like this little walk here, that?
Yeah, that was walkway with the like stone, not stone, it's grave.
Did they
I
have
think-
grass next to it or?
No, so it was not grass over there, just grass is just the other side.
Okay.
We only have the grass from the other side, the decking, And a little bit on the front.
Just the front
A little
here.
bit on the front here, yeah, that,
Yeah.
that's all, and the big one, big part. But I don't know if I have any picture before.
Do you have a picture of the house and when the deck is? There's a deck attached to the house.
The deck is attached to the house. Do I have a picture of the house and deck?
It's hard to tell.
I know, look at this aerial here. All right, so here's the house, here's the driveway, and this is beforehand, here's the deck. So this is the oak tree he wants to pull, this is the pine trees. It's harder to see the oak trees, they're smaller.
How do people feel about bounds? And, filing for any future work?
What?
A filing for any future work.
Like if he wants to expand, or are you thinking it when if he pulls full back to put the steps in, I mean.
Yeah, or it ends up deciding to do walls.
Yeah.
It's mentioned creating some flat area behind the house, right?
Right, you mentioned that, I told him you couldn't.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, it's going-
conceivably, if there's a wall there.
That's right,
And there was a setback.
if it's where that deck, under the deck or something.
I think one question is.
Yeah, let's do bounds.
Right? Let's say it's quite confusing.
It's confusing site. Yeah, well, all the fill went in here. It's all basically here, except the trees aren't. And then the wetland goes very close to the back of the deck, and then it kind of wraps around a little bit further away. And goes almost all the way to the street.
So we really don't have a site plan.
No, we don't.
So I'm just trying to make some here. It's not too onerous. I think it sounds as if the trees, the trees is okay. Yeah, sounds right.
Yeah.
Including the oak,
Yeah, oh,
there's a couple, right?
Yeah.
All right, probably more. Right.
Yeah, I guess I was.
Seven trees total, 3 white pine, 1 oak, and the
one
3
wrong,
maples.
right type of house.
Yeah.
Kind of trees.
And then for bounds, since we're in the site plan, asking Mary, maybe you could meet. Yeah, get out there and basically decide where to put 2 or 3 bounds,
Okay, I think maybe we might want some,
4 bounds, whatever number
yeah, like, if-
would satisfy.
yeah, it's one near the deck, maybe then one like near the corner of the shed, and then maybe another one on the side.
Yeah.
3 or 4.
So it's like bounds, basically, it would be a post in the ground, which Bill could not go past the post.
A marker for the wetland.
The wetland.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or a marker for the,
Yeah,
but
they want-
there's like a. So you got, wetland here, and then there's, we'll have a no disturb zone, which can't be touched. And along that no disturb zone, there was some bounds.
Okay, it's just also, or like a fence.
Well, we normally, ask for, concrete posts, and we have a little placard that goes on top of the post.
But how that got installed? Because I never.
Dig a hole. We're gonna dig a hole, put it in there, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not just for you, it's, if you were to move, people that move in, see it, it's.
Where, just a mark, just like this is a wetland, you can't.
Yeah, you can't, so people know they can't dump their yard waste in it, they can't clear it, they can't do anything
Fill it.
with it.
Yeah, I already know. Yeah, I just don't know what stop it is, but I can.
You'll figure it out.
Mary can
Help, yeah.
Yeah, the 4x4 concrete posts, some people make in the cell, you can buy them from a place in Framingham, but they're $70.
So I need a 4 of those?
Do you want 4?
3 or 4, whatever you think when you go out there. Maybe at least 3, maybe 4.
Okay.
But Mary will work with you.
That would help a lot. Hey, but.
It's okay, it's okay, it's fine.
This is a boring meeting.
Welcome to our world.
Yeah.
He don't care about, he don't pay bills yet.
Go ahead, Jen. I'll move it away from that one.
That shed
I'm
may be-
okay with where it is now, but not where it goes
In the
back.
30 foot?
No, from a just zoning.
Oh,
We're discussing asking.
And I'm not
you to
even
move
sure
your
those trees
shed.
are on her.
I'm not, I don't need to, I'm not.
The ones
asking.
along the cleared area. they
We
could-
just want to prevent.
I mean,
We don't want you to do anything more in the.
no, the thing is,
I think
if
the
we
shed
can
is
put
clearly
back,
normal setback.
we was, but we can't.
I think the trees are his though. The
We,
trees are
we're
here.
not gonna push more than.
Oh,
on the side.
signs.
It's like it was-
I know the wetland is
In
full.
here.
Yeah, I'm okay with,
Well, then,
what is
if
done
that
now,
tree is
but not.
his neighbor's tree, then Phil is in the neighbor's
Okay.
land.
But we'll have
It's
to,
going
it's
to
not,
rush. Yeah.
other people's vote.
Yeah, shed is clearly in typically what would be considered a setback.
Right, so the shed is so small, you didn't need a permit for the shed because it's smaller than.
Yeah, we tried for the permit, but they told me, oh, you don't need it, so
You don't
it
need
was, yeah, they
But yeah,
they
there's
cancel
a
our permit.
side yard setback. You don't. I mean, your property wasn't surveyed, right?
No.
Yeah, so. We.
It's close to your line, right? It's close to your property line, is that
Over
the shed?
the shed, it's kind of, I mean, where would I think it is, it's about like a 20 feet or something like that.
That's not our concern, right?
No.
That's not our purview.
Not really. Nope.
Now, what do you think about no further work without a permit?
Yeah.
So no further work for now. Yes, you can see Mary. She's the boss.
We're asking her to do a lot of that.
Yeah.
So. Between you and.
So, all right, so
What are we
Mike,
voting on? What do we do?
Mike motion to allow the removal of the trees and then allow things as is for the fill potentially.
Stabilize existing.
Stabilize it in the shed.
And the bottom.
And install bounds, and then, so then we would go ahead and issue a negative determination with those
Stipulate.
conditions.
And any additional sale required.
Yeah,
And the trees are to be cut. Fly off the ground.
Pull them out anyway.
No.
Now, second.
All that sound okay? Does all that sound okay? Mhm.
Maybe we'll take it
I think so.
out. So, give a second,
Second.
Go ahead, voice vote. Who's the aye?
Tom, I.
Sandy, I.
Marcella, I.
Okay, it's a unanimous vote with the commission. Have you do these different things.
Mary will help you.
yeah, so probably not tomorrow, but sometime next week I'll have some paperwork.
Yeah.
I'll write it up,
Yeah, you can call me.
yeah. So
So there are no fines. Right?
we didn't
No.
suggest anything.
No fines.
No fines.
But they.
Nice.
But you can't.
Gotta be
go
past
past
those.
You can't go past or there will be.
Yeah, we're not gonna be any more.
How long have you been there? How long have you
So
lived there?
we just closed on July 31st.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, we like it. It's nice town, yeah.
It's a nice school system, you'll be happy.
Yeah, maybe like a 5 years later. But yeah, I heard about this nice school. I heard about that. So, I like the town. It's very
That's
good.
good. Your little boy is well behaved.
What's that?
He's well behaved. Good girl. I think he wants to grow up and sit over the table.
What did you do?
So what do we have
Okay.
next?
So,
That's it
until
until,
you're all done.
We all done?
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Good night.
Too
Thank you
well.
very
yeah,
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome.
This is-
Okay, environment, number 10, 9 Meadow Street. I got some fun on your ride.
notice is hereby given in accordance with the Wetlands Protection Act that the Upton Conservation Commission will hold the following public hearing on Wednesday, November 13th at 8 p.m. A notice of intent filed by Amy and Matt Osterhus for the construction of an addition at 9 Meadow Street. And we have Matt with us here tonight.
Good evening.
Right there.
And I will go ahead and share the screen if once I get myself organized there. All the bounds? In the. And Matt's putting on a garage addition.
Yeah, we're working with Christopher Silly, and we're converting the existing garage into a family room and then adding on a new garage.
So the new addition, and you said the addition is 22 by 28, so it's this area here,
26 by 28. Yep.
6 by 28, yep.
Mhm.
And then on your plot plan, it's right here, 28 by 26.
Correct. Yep.
And then this is, and we thought it was about 23 feet from this isolated wetland here,
Approximately. Correct.
which is why I asked him to file a notice of intent because it was close. However, it is all in previously developed area. The wetland may or may not, so this was the plan from when the house was built, however many years ago. And may have some connectivity, continues on, there's a culvert under the road and a pond on the other side of the street. They're already working on, the existing renovation. But the addition will go here, right, on the
Yeah.
driveway.
The wood, that's the roof line right there for the garage addition. Basically, they mocked it up there. The plan was to wait a year or two to do the garage addition, but once we started with the renovating the existing garage into a family room and some other things, we realized we needed to do the garage right now. So that's why it wasn't all submitted at once. That's why it's being submitted separately.
Building it on the driveway?
So they're building it
Yep.
on the driveway.
Basically, you can see the overhang of that roof just goes out about 2 feet from the existing garage. So we're making it a little wider, 2 feet on each side, and then 28 feet coming towards the camera there. So it's going to go over the existing driveway, correct?
Okay.
And this is the wetland area back here. And a fence was installed at the time, kind of to protect the edge. So that's still there. I did notice that there's been a fair bit of, leaf and stuff dumping kind of in the area. And the wetlands over here, and this is the channel, which may or may not be an inland stream running on. The other thing I noticed is still silt fence from must be the original house. Still,
Probably, yeah.
that you guys can pull that out, or you should pull that out. That should go.
Okay.
that can go. Although you're gonna need to install some new stuff, but the old stuff should go. And then I guess I was taking this picture to try and figure out, identify another spot where they could put yard waste that wasn't so close to the wetland. Most of their yard, it is kind, it's very open. There might be a spot kind of behind the fence over here, which is further away from the wetland, maybe 30 or 40 feet as opposed to 10, 15. So. Those were- Yeah, so those are my main comments. This is just an NOI because it's so close to the wetland. So they will be installing erosion controls, and I did not get to draft an order of conditions yet, but it should be a relatively simple order. Just call for the removal of the old silt fence, and I don't know, would the board like to see some of this yard waste pulled out or just stop the new, stop
Well, if
adding
they
any
can,
more?
if it's, workable, we'll draw some of it back.
Bounds, Mary?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So there is a fence for part of the area. The fence goes like around here near the garage, but then the driveway goes like this, and then the kind of the swale continues along like that. So maybe 1 or 2 bounds along the swale. Do you think that might work?
Wherever you think they should go.
Maybe 3.
In the fence, what kind of a fence is that?
The fence it's a wrought iron fence.
Correct. Yep.
Oh, and they got their DEP number today.
That's a miracle.
I told them to call and it worked.
They're usually
Yeah.
not that.
Andrea over there was very helpful, and she did me a solid, as she put it. And I thank her profusely for doing that. Yes.
So I mean, I'm good with just not adding yard waste to where it is, finding a different spot.
Yeah.
Putting in the bounds, it's being put on additions on the driveway, I don't see an issue.
Do you have any other discussion? Or any question? No, Marcella?
No, I'm good.
So, do you have any questions for us? Would you like to close your hearing?
What was that?
You wanna close your hearing?
That's a good
Perfect.
thing.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Okay, so we will make a motion from the board. Issue closing the hearing.
So move,
Second,
Okay, let's take a vote. Chris, aye.
Tom, I.
Sandy, I.
My God.
Marcella, I.
Okay, and unanimous vote of the commission. And Mary will work on the order of condition. And let you know when they're done.
I just kind of spaced out who made the motion. Who seconded?
Oh,
I made it and Danny second.
Okay. Just to close the public, right? Do we want, because this is so simple, do we want to go ahead and issue our standard order of conditions with the thing we talked about?
Yeah,
that's
bounds the yard waste.
when the new yard is somewhere else.
Take out the fence, this old silt fence.
Yeah, remove old sump fence. Designate a new spot for yard waste, 3 bounds.
Yeah,
Oh, and the wrought iron fence is considered to be bound as well.
Yes, so the wrought iron fence, yeah, because it actually pretty much goes a lot of the length of that isolated, but not the whole, but yeah. So I don't know if whether you could put a placard on the fence or.
I don't think so, but just some.
yeah, no.
Maybe I'll just
noted.
note
If
it
it's
in the
noted,
order, okay. So do we need a motion to issue the standard We're-
We just did everything.
Okay,
Okay,
you did, all right,
Yeah.
excellent.
okay, and Mary will let you know when that's done. So you're all done with us.
Perfect. Thank you very much for your time, and you all have a great evening. I appreciate it.
You too. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Thank you. Night.
Good night. Mary, who's our new Patrick?
I'm David.
Oh,
Okay. All right, we were, you looked a little bit like Patrick. Patrick
Oh,
didn't
sorry.
show. That's okay.
I was starting to fall asleep a little bit.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. All right, okay, so we have two people on board here. Peter Lavoy for 18 Kiwanis, and you're here for these extensions
Extension of the order.
oh, okay.
for 30 and 32 Menon Street. And I don't know which is
Oh,
order, actually 30 and 32 is first on the agenda, so. Let's do that one first, that's pretty easy. I did not put any plans together for it. If you guys would like to see the plans, I can pull it off the T
I
drive.
have a full set of plans if you guys like to see.
Sure, why sure, just to remind people, 30 and 32 Mendon are those lots which has involving wetland crossing, and you remember where that is, right near the stop sign.
Fairly extensive set of plans there.
And it expires December of this year, that order.
Yes,
Although I forgot to check about the code extension, but at any rate,
I'm here, so.
yeah, you may as well do the 3 years, exactly.
2 years is fine, 3 years is great. Whatever you guys see fit.
So you
It's
need a
fine.
motion to
Extend, there's
those?
two extensions for 789 and 786.
Okay,
So moved.
Second,
okay, let's do a voice vote. Chris, aye.
Tom, I.
Sandy, I.
Micah.
Marcella, I.
And answer with the commission.
Your challenging project.
Oh, yeah, it's a lot. Anytime you see a lot of lines.
I'm making
you
your
wanna
shit
talk about-
paper along.
Do you want to talk about the Phragmites too?
So I'm going to be working with Scott. I
Okay,
don't know if you guys have worked with him, so rather than me misspeak, I'd rather have just work with him and discuss whatever. If we ever decide that we wanted to bring an amendment, a minor amendment in front of the board, we'll bring it up at that moment, but
Okay.
I don't necessarily disagree with it the more I think of it, so I may just stick with it.
very good.
Thank you very much. Enjoy your evening.
Yeah, me too.
Stay away when you drive.
Do you have another check for me? I think
Did I short you?
well, I thought it was only one order, but it was two. So another $100, but you can give it to me when you pick them up.
Perfect, okay, so I'll bring it back.
Okay,
Thank you, enjoy your evening.
There.
thank you.
Okay, now do we have to go back to the other?
Now we go to, well, 75 Elm still isn't here, so let's do 18 Kiwanis.
Okay,
We have Peter here.
oh,
Just Peter, not the applicant?
No, we do not seem to have the applicant.
were we supposed to?
Who's Peter?
Peter Lavoy is the engineer.
Oh, the engineer.
Oh, I remember the Aquinas one.
Yeah, this is the enforcement order.
The guy here.
Peter, was Marcella gonna come to the meeting?
I think it's just me. I don't know if he's coming or not, but it's just me. So
Okay.
I can go through, if you want, what we've done to this point. Do you want me to share my screen?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so the first plan that I submitted 2 plans, we went out and we surveyed, we did a total as-built of the property. So basically, the red, if you see that red dashed line, and then you have this red hatch area in this area here, and then this red dash line here. So that was what was permitted. And basically, we took the overlay of the as-built and put it over that permitted area. So as you can see, this was the limit of work. in the red, and then we had this area here that was hatched was going to be a temporary disturbance to get the well in, which is in this location here, and then this was going to go all the way down to the water for access, but then they were going to restore this area. So what happened was this yellow area was disturbed, and grass was installed with a sprinkler system. And then this green area here was the underbrush was cleared, and I guess we located the trees that were cut within this area. So there were some pines, some dead trees, and yeah, dead trees and pines were cut out of there. So that was the limit. And that area there was 5,700 square feet. And then the yellow area, as you see, is roughly 1,800 square feet. So you can see this is the blue line that runs along the back is the 100-foot buffer. Just wanted to show that. So then we came up with a second plan here. This was after Mary Ann DePinto had gone out to the site. And she did a report, and I think we submitted that to Mary so she could look at that. Let's see. Just trying to get a little bit bigger. So what we would like to do is to put in either a post and rail fence or a boulder wall along this dashed line that goes like this, comes across, goes up, and then ties into where it was. The reason why we did this is there was a retaining wall that was constructed here, and we would just like to incorporate that. So we would either put a post and rail fence along there or, like I said, a boulder wall. So also what will happen is that all the grass will be removed in that roughly 1,800 square feet. That would be removed. The sprinkler system would be removed, and that would be restored. The blue area would also be restored in this area here. And we would like, because it was disturbed here and then it was kind of cleared for underbrush, we would like to have a 4-foot wide access down to here instead of over here, because this area here which was approved, that area down to the water was not cleared. So we felt that this was already disturbed, so we would just put the path, a 4-foot wide path down to the water, and then just keep this area natural. But if it needs to be restored, it will be restored. Mary and we're suggesting that Mary Ann DePinto will work with our client to restore that area, and she will oversee that area to help him restore all the areas that were disturbed. And then, after all the restoration and minimizing the path down to the water and all the changes, the end result will be a net gain of restored 100-foot buffer zone of 158 square feet. This is, I guess, a starting point on what you guys would like us to do, but this is kind of what we're proposing to get this resolved. That's what we had come up with.
Can you make that big enough to see?
Yeah, let me try getting a little bit bigger. Sorry.
Thank you, here.
No, let me see. I'll go one more. Is that big enough, or you want me to try to go bigger?
That's better.
Bigger.
Yeah.
How's
So
that?
maybe you can point out the limit, the old limit of work, and then the new proposed edge limit of work, because it's a slightly different, right?
Correct, it is. So the proposed is this line here. It starts at this bound that was installed, comes straight up here, comes to this point here, and then it kind of blends back into what was originally approved. What was approved, I mean, you can see it on this one better. It came up and wrapped around and then came up like this. That was approved. The other plan shows it, it's red. Let's see.
Can I jump in here, Peter? So the bound that is, and we have some pictures. Did anyone from the commission go out and look at this?
I did, I
Disaster.
went out and saw it the other day.
Right, so at least, so I want to start here. The bound that's really near the house. Are you proposing to maintain that bound?
So that bound is right here,
The other one,
right
Oh,
here. on this-
The one that's within about 10 feet of the house or 15 feet of the house.
Oh, right here? This
That
one right
one.
here? Yeah, okay, no, we were gonna relocate that.
Okay, that's a good start.
Yep, hold on one second, sorry. Go back to 20. So that bound is right here, right next to the house, which is 5 feet, and we were gonna put it right here. So this is a straight shot up to this point. So that bound right there is gonna be moved to right in this location here. And then it comes straight across to this bound, which is in. And then it was gonna blend back in. I don't think we have another bound installed on that.
yeah, there's two
Why are you
installed.
moving it? Is it,
It is
Improperly
really developed and
placed.
close to the house. It was a design flaw.
Correct. And then he did install this wall, and then we're just trying to incorporate that. You know, it shouldn't have been placed that close to the house. Mike is right. But now what we want to do is we want to put a boulder wall along the proposed or a split rail fence with signs on it. So we want to either do those two along the new disturbed, the new limit of disturbance. So now there'll be no question because it'll be a continuous barrier along that limit of disturbance.
When you say
Is
a
that-
boulder wall, Peter, what is a boulder wall? What exactly?
So you're looking at a boulder wall is probably rocks that are roughly maybe, I don't know, 4x4, 5x5 size, and then placed along that line, maybe every 10 feet. So you may have, I don't know, 100 rocks along that wall, because I think the width of this lot is probably 150 feet wide. So you're looking at like, a number of large rocks along that, or we could do a split rail fence at that line because we would then stake it and it would be permanent. We would still stake the boulder wall, but I think a split rail fence, you'll be able to put signs right on the split rail fence facing in, facing towards the house. So anyone that sees that fence and sees the sign will, they'll know that they can't go past that fence.
Peter, would you be open to installing maybe one or two more bounds?
Yes. Yep.
Between the two major bounds?
Yes, we could do that.
And then they would be there, and someday the fence is gonna rot away and not get replaced, but the bounds would.
Yeah, and that's why I kind of like the boulder wall, because the fence is only gonna last so long. The boulders, if they're as big as he says, you need equipment to move it.
Correct.
You can put the signs on top of the boulder.
Yeah, we can do if you want that. I mean, I saw an email that I saw that someone had mentioned about the bounds, and they can be ignored because they were so far apart. So, I came up with the fence, and then Marcelo said, maybe we could do a boulder wall. It's either one or the other. It doesn't matter. I think either one would be a permanent boundary, and then that would deter people from going over on the other side.
What do you guys think
What-
of
what-
boulders as opposed to a fence?
I like boulders.
I like those too, but I just have a question. If we went boulders, would there still be those intermediate bounds installed?
Boulders and
Yeah.
bounds.
Boulders.
Yeah, we don't have a problem doing that. We would do both.
Okay.
I would add the extra bounds and then do boulders around those bounds.
Okay.
Because the bounds are what's gonna have the sign, right? The marking.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I'm okay with the boulders and bounds as proposed. But the areas to be replaced, is there,
Right, so I had sent an email to Mary Ann, but I was looking for input from the board. You know, Peter, they did a great job of locating the larger trees that were removed, but they didn't really count all the little ones. There's a whole bunch of, like, I went out there yesterday and counted like 20 things that were smaller than 3 inches, at least 20 of like white pines and stuff like that. So there was a lot of smaller stuff removed as well. So I don't know, we originally thought just document it all, so we know how many. Do we want to ask that, because they have not provided a detailed list, you know, they've done the larger ones, but do we want that detailed list of the littler ones so that we know what kind of replacement, or maybe we don't, so that's a question. And then I just thought, I think Peter's plans are great, I just wanted to see a little bit more detail on the restoration.
yeah.
Mary
that's
Ann,
what-
do you want me to share Mary Ann's report? She had mentioned, I think, I have it here. How many larger trees?
I think in the end, if you stand in the backyard, you shouldn't see any difference between your waterfront and the neighbor to the left or the right.
Right,
There, it should all look the same when it's restored.
right,
Mhm.
so. Like, so she recommended replacing 10 oak and maples and 10 to 12 shrubs, but I think we need more than that.
Yeah, you need a way more.
So that
Because
was,
he opened that way up.
right, so so I think it maybe would be helpful to go through and count how many 2-inch trees were, so we kind of know. Not that we have to install all, I mean,
Right.
but just more of a kind of a 1-for-1.
And that's what the enforcement order has for.
But yes, that's what the enforcement order is for.
Yes,
Right.
yeah.
I think the herbaceous there should also be considered.
Yes, yeah, so there were sweet pepper bush. And blueberry bushes, what did she say?
Just look at what's on the neighbor's property, that's what needs to be there,
Yeah,
the same.
yeah,
Yeah, you need to- you need
and
to-
it was, a lot of it was just these small white pines, which provide a lot of screening, actually. So that's what was there. And, you know, we have a few pictures, Peter, of what it looks like beforehand.
And what are they gonna put instead of the lawn?
Oh, it's gonna be restored back to, it's gonna be part of the, if it's on the other side of the no disturb, it will be restored with the rest.
Pine needles and leaves and.
Correct. Correct, and they would do plantings as well in that area as well as the area where the underbrush was cleared.
Right,
I mean, we're even proposing to, you know, restore the area around the well, because once the well's in, they really don't need, you know, access to it. So they could restore all that. We were planning on restoring all that.
Yeah, so that's an improvement, because before that was gonna be grass, so I think that's an
Correct.
improvement.
Yep.
Yeah, so the boundary is, as proposed, is fine with me. I definitely would like to know more about the restoration.
Right, yeah. And so, yeah, so just, I think in the enforcement order, it asks for a documentation of anything bigger than 2 centimeters, which maybe you guys thought that was 2 inches, but it was 2 centimeters. Just to document it. And it doesn't have to be on a plan necessarily, but like a listing of,
Looking for a count,
right,
even you know, if they can tell if it's a pine tree or not, that's great, but if not, just cut.
Right, and there's a few next, I noticed, it's mostly pines, you can tell because of the sap oozing. But there's a few even right down next to the water, they took some pretty big 3-inch things right next to the water. So,
I'm concerned that Marcelo did not show up and put all this in Peter's lap. So that's not good with me. So Peter, we appreciate that you're here all the while, but you're up.
Well, I'm the one that's gonna come up with the resolute, you know, I want to get it resolved, so I understand.
Well, you should show up.
Now, Peter, this was a very good meeting. I was really upset about this, but I'm calmed down. Part of what I was upset about is that your client, you know, your client really disrespected our administrator. She told him to do some things that he ignored. And that should just not happen. We have a great administrator. She should be respected. And, you know, in the future, let's let Marcelo know that.
No, I will. I will let him know.
If he had a problem with the design and, a little bit of this is the commission's fault because we sign off on a plan that stupid boundary 5 feet from the house. That we shouldn't have done that either. But in the future, if he has a problem with some other site, some other day, with if something doesn't look workable, even though it's approved, he should go to the commission. He shouldn't just do whatever the hell he wants.
Right. No, I'll let him know that.
But disrespect is an issue. He needs to be more careful when he's working with commissions.
Okay, I understand.
And he's had other projects with us before, I believe.
yeah,
So this is not.
How much lawn are you going to have now? How many
much?
feet of the house of lawn is
not
there?
very much,
Not much at all.
not much.
Not very much in the back of the house, but the side where the side where the septic system is grass, but you'll have minimal in the back. But you'll have with this new limit of clearing or limit of work, you have easier access around. Like Mike had said, that bound was too close, but we would have better access around the structure. But there'll be very minimal lawn area in the back of the house. I think he'll concentrate on using the left side of the house for lawn, for the lawn.
Hey, Peter, this is not I was just noticing it on your original plan. Next to the road, I think there was trees kind of supposed to remain all along the road on the original plan. That's what it looked like to me. You had drawn the trees and maybe we didn't talk about it. We didn't make a condition, but the whole road, the grass goes all the way to the road, the whole thing. And this isn't a huge deal, except that, this lot has a 200-foot buffer zone. So that area is still within.
Yeah.
So I don't know that I had just noticed that recently. We didn't talk about it before, but that's a difference from the original.
From the original? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, Mary, if you want to meet, I can meet you out there if you want to walk the site together.
Not necessarily. I just noticed that more recently, and I don't know if the board has any strong opinion about that. It's. Yeah.
Well, I have a strong opinion.
Just Peter, we're not upset with you at all. You always do a great job. We're happy that you're getting this mess cleaned up.
Thank
Thank you.
No problem.
Black mark on it.
No,
Not Peter's.
oh yeah. Hopefully your applicants will pay more. I got a lot. So Mary, what's the next?
Well, I think, we had a fine established, and the fine was to go until a plan, I believe, was submitted or approved, I'm not sure. So I have to look at it, approved. approved. So I just wanted to clarify that. So the fine's still running until we get an approved plan.
Double checking.
Yeah, what's
Yeah.
a cap of $1,500, I think.
Yeah, we had a cap. Where's the letter? We have it first.
We usually don't do that many.
But it wasn't submitted.
I thought it was approved.
It says till the board receives the restoration. Receives. So
Received it.
we have received it. Yeah, we got it,
It's not accepted.
right. Anyway, we can, always, it does, the letter does, allow, we may consider levying more fines, so. So that just, at some point, we'll have to, before I can release that building permit, we'll just have to resolve the issue of fines. All right, so I guess, Peter, the ball's in your court with Mary Ann in terms of coming up, documenting more of the trees in the restoration plan. Is that
Okay.
right? Yeah.
Yep. No, so we need to do more detail on the restoration plan and get a better count on the smaller trees that were cut.
Right, and I sent you that email, you got that email
Yeah.
too.
Okay. No, that's fine. I'm just writing some notes. That's all.
Right,
Okay.
the restoration plan, I wouldn't say it has to have the exact location, but like try to give numbers and like, the distribution, like. You'd wanna, obviously you wanna have them just well distributed, but there are trees, what he doesn't show on the plan is there are some trees that are still remaining that we wouldn't wanna disturb the root, get too close to them and stuff.
Okay. And then you want, so in the restoration, you want, proposed trees and shrubs too, because did she mention any kind of shrubs? I don't remember.
Just like 10 to 12 blueberries, but I think we're just gonna need more. And I
Okay.
think put white pine,
Just little white pine scrubs too,
Yeah.
because that's whatever was there.
That's what was there.
Expect it to be like it was.
Yeah,
Okay.
install white pines. There you go.
Okay. And I'll come up with a number of small trees that were cut and what type
Yeah.
they were. Okay.
So anything down to, I think I said 2 centimeters, so that's.
Okay. I can take care of that.
She mentioned what kind of blueberry?
She said there was high bush blueberry there.
You know, huckleberries.
Were there huckleberries there?
I'm joking.
Yeah.
Blueberry.
It looks, it's dry, I was thinking mix them some low.
Yeah, there's still a kind of a natural area there. There's some bush.
The natural area that matches the names on either side.
Yeah.
You're never gonna match.
Close. Okay, so
So what are we doing with Peter now? We good?
Well, yeah, I think he's gonna work on homework and you're gonna come back. Our next meeting isn't until December 11th, so that's where we are.
So you want a new plan and then that information we'll discuss at the next meeting on December 11th?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think the plan maybe only needs a few updates, except, maybe, and if you want to do obviously a plan showing the things, maybe it's easier for you, or a narrative, just more detail.
Okay. Okay, that sounds good. And then we'll talk about it at the December 11th. Do you want Marcelo there?
yes.
Okay, because I'll tell him. That's
You should be here.
tell him he needs to be here. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
I
Have a
appreciate
good
it.
night.
Good night.
Okay, good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Of course you have to be here. Don't leave them special.
Well, not really, he's hired somebody to represent
Right,
him.
he doesn't have to be here.
Well, you don't want to hear it, you want to.
Well, it's getting paid.
Here's gonna be Jeff.
Yeah.
Martha loves to hear all this. He's not here.
He could look at it online.
I doubt you will.
No.
Okay, So Mary, let's hear what you're in for.
Let's see, I wonder if 22 Elm Street is here. No, I do not see him. In the account. All right, so we can do my report. Wait, so. But first, some of that, when we come to signing documents, there's a lot to sign tonight. And a few of the things we need to sign is I had gotten a call from the state about the replication area at Mechanic Street. And basically, if you guys want, we can look at the form, but she didn't like the fact that the forms were conflicting from what we said about the Robertson Trail Bridge. And so she just wanted the forms updated. So it's not, she said we didn't have to do it as an amendment. It's kind of like a minor modification. And then I just adjusted the findings because our Robertson order, we weren't sure if we were going to replicate at that point. And so we did not include it. And then we said in Mechanic Street that we were, and she just wanted it accurately reflected in both. So that's part of the documents that we're signing. So that was one thing. 170 West River. He is super happy. If you guys remember, this lot has a conservation restriction on it. And I finally found, I don't know why I didn't look for this before, but I found that as-built for the development. And now he's all happy, the homeowner is, because he can see that the boulders, the as-built shows that the boulders were not put on the line like they should have been. So he's gonna move them to the line. I gave him permission to do that. And the as-built also says that there's pins, and he didn't know that there were pins, and he went around and found all his pins. Oh, now we actually know where the edges are. So he's gonna hopefully put his swimming pool in, and I think, yeah, that's just an update on that. And we have good news about crosswinds. Eastland was the contractor on that. So I called them to see if they had any kind of authority over the Crosswinds development, since Crosswinds has been dissolved. And attorney called me, and it turns out, yes, they can do some things like change the, they can change those, they make minor changes to the easements, including adding, she thinks she can add trail access to those easements. So that would make life a lot easier for us. So she's gonna get back to me with suggested language, hopefully.
That is just a question of assigning the easements to the town, right?
Well, the town has them.
But they're incomplete because they don't fully describe what was granted by the homeowner from the homeowner at Crosswinds. Eastland will transfer what they were granted on behalf of Crosswinds to us. Okay.
So yeah, so Eastland can do that.
Right.
Yeah, there is I read this one, but there's a clause in the easement that says that changes can be made.
Can be made by Crosswinds.
Yes.
Yeah, and so Eastland can do that on behalf of.
Yes.
So that was the good news.
So Mary.
I was just gonna say, so all of the access easements will reflect the access that are transferred to us, will reflect the access that was agreed with the homeowners. All of it. So the one between 5 and 4 and 2 or whatever.
Yeah, so that'll be complete trail. Yeah.
Well, no, it'll affect the writers property.
It'll affect the writers, it'll
And the
also
other
affect
couple.
1 and 3,
Okay,
right? So
got
if we
it.
decide that we want to put a trail in
Got
there,
it? Yeah,
we could.
thank you.
Yeah, so I told them to do all of them.
Yeah, thank you.
What about the infamous point? Is there
I
anything?
did not ask. No.
Could you ask her about that? It may just be out of bounds for this.
That's true. Well, it's true. There is no certificate of compliance for the development, so I think they would involve redrawing that lot.
Or maybe not, or just put a 10-foot wide easement
Right, that's true.
on it. All we need, or even 5 foot, all we need is just a few feet.
Yeah.
That hits the cul-de-sac. You know, that could be the easement. They wouldn't have to redraw any lines.
Right, okay. That's a
If-
very good idea.
Then we would pretty much have it all solved. It's like building a trail,
Yeah, but in that case, they would be creating.
That would be
a new
creating a
easement.
new easement.
Right, and
Yeah,
I don't know.
they may not have that authority.
Yeah. But explain that you've got this
Well,
point,
it's unusable, right?
access, it's an unusable.
That was a mistake. That was clearly an engineering mistake. So, maybe, or maybe intentional. We're gonna have it from. All right. Okay. So yeah, so there was a bunch of good news there. And pictures. This is 54 Pleasant Street. Or and after, so I can, this, maybe after looking what they did, I'm like, man, I think they should have given them more details, so I'm just kind of curious, they had said they were gonna rip wrap the sides, but they didn't mention rip wrapping the bottom. Should we just ask them to pull the rip wrap out of the bottom of the street?
Is it a big deal?
Or we can just leave it, that's what I'm bringing it to the board, see what you guys think.
To me, it isn't, but I won't speak for others.
I'd leave it.
And there's.
Gonna fill in anyway with.
Yeah, it's something and everything else.
And Whitney Boardwalks.
Nice job, Bill and Marcella.
Yeah,
Nice.
looks great.
And our crew.
Yeah. And then I think we know this person's house. This is 16 Christian Hill Road. Got some trees removed.
No trouble.
I think we should fine her. She's not doing this right.
Tell her she's gotta come to the meeting.
All right.
I like that tree. Now I have some sunlight in my face all the time.
Oh, you had a tree down, is that what happened?
No, my insurance company wanted them down,
Oh,
along with other stuff.
And then 32 Shore Drive, just did a final inspection. The sunroom looks great. But they were, I'm still laughing at this, he was so proud of his shrubs, but 2 of them were burning bush. So
Oh,
I told him he had to replace them.
oh no.
And we even, I even researched it, it's apparently, I don't know whether he got them in mass or not, but it is illegal.
illegal?
It's illegal to sell them.
Wow.
So I told him he should ask for his money back.
They are invasive.
yeah, I
Some of
have 2 giant ones.
Some of the woods is
Oh, boy.
parts
To
of the
watch
woods.
to make sure they don't,
Stefan's farm, a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
that's what's on my garage, they're beautiful.
So you're the person for the next Stefan's farm.
Well,
The state forest is a nightmare.
I know, but I haven't.
Just make sure that it doesn't seed somewhere, that's all, that's it.
Oh, and here's pictures of, so this is the staked, that's the no disturb limit of work. That's where the edge of everything should have been.
Wow.
Was right there. And this is the well area that's gonna be restored.
Make sure unless they get us mad again.
I'm sorry, we maybe should have pulled these up, but Peter was sharing his screen. Here's that bound that's too close to the house.
Oh,
I thought that's where they were supposed to be.
Well, yeah, I think that's where we had approved it, was that
Yes,
close to the house.
yes.
I mean, it just makes it very hard to run a lawnmower around. Maybe there should have been.
Well, then it connects to
No lawn at
the
all.
Right,
other bound is all the way across the yard.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, the other bound's way, it's right there. That bound actually needs to be, I wonder if he's
Just
moving
take
that
the
one
deck
because
down.
that other deck is gonna stay,
And the
but.
wall.
But this is where the stones are gonna run, right through here, although he angled it a little
Well,
bit out.
yeah, he angled it outside that.
Outside the retaining walls.
So it does make sense to get rid of some of this well area. And pull it back.
Isn't that beautiful though? Wouldn't you wanna buy that?
No.
Yeah,
Hey,
but when you're
Lon.
looking at it from the pond, you know, if you look at it from the pond, it looks pretty different.
Yeah.
Wasn't right.
Yeah. Oh, and here's showing. All right, so that's pretty much it, I believe, from our department. Oh, there's a few more things, I guess. So we did interview one applicant for Grace's position.
Saw that.
And but they turned down the offer.
Only one?
Yeah, there was only one. Wow. So I guess yes. See if anyone knows anyone looking for a job.
What is required?
How many hours is it?
It's full time,
Full time?
so. It's a lot of clerical stuff. It's doing minutes for 3 boards, us, planning board, CPC.
Correct.
Oh, I hate taking that.
Oh, I
I'm so
Yeah, I
bad.
don't think that's the sort of thing you're thinking when you're assistant planner.
Oh, I know, that's the problem. So it could go, but there is, obviously, there's room to grow in the planner positions. And it's
Right.
doing the finances and
Right.
Grace did all of the legal ads and she prepped a lot of the paperwork, which is great. She wrote up the determinations. That was awesome.
Well, it helped her get,
It's a
advanced.
good step up job. though.
It is,
It's a good step up job.
so.
It's the assistant planner.
No, I know, that I'm curious if they don't get too many more people under that title, whether they'll advertise the old one, I mean, it would save them money and maybe limit some, I don't know.
What was that?
Just, what do they call it?
Department specialist,
Yeah,
department
exactly,
coordinator.
department
Right.
specialist. I don't know.
Something, so you don't have to do it all.
Yeah, nobody wants to be called a clerk.
Yeah,
I'm very proud of that.
You're a clerk?
Job is a
I'm a
job.
department coordinator.
Remember
That's not a clerk.
It's one step up from specialist.
so I think we'll need to make a motion to approve those minor modifications for the Mechanic Street and the Robertson. If you want to see them, I wrote them all up there in the packet.
So moved.
Second,
Okay.
Okay, let's do
We wrote
it.
it down.
I,
Tom, I.
Sandy, I.
Luke abstains.
Marcella, I.
it's jury of the conservation.
Do you have anybody for new members?
Did Kira, was she interested?
Kiara, she wasn't in line. Kiara, would you like to talk? They were just asking about,
She's still hanging around,
new
great.
members.
I'm still here. Sorry, what was that you were asking about?
Wondered if you were here, that's all.
Oh yeah, yep, I'm still here.
Did you talk to the selectmen?
What's that?
The selectmen, talk to you?
Did the selectmen talk to you?
They just said that they were gonna have a meeting on the 19th to appoint people, from my understanding, but I was looking in the calendar online and I couldn't find that meeting listed, so I wasn't really sure, but they haven't said anything other than that to me.
He'll probably post the agenda on Friday for that meeting.
Yeah, it's the calendar, unfortunately, it's only, it doesn't show up until the agenda is posted on the calendar, which in the agenda.
Oh, okay.
So that's a little bit confusing if you're looking for a meeting ahead. We should have a better system, but that's the way it is right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, she'll find out about it when it's over.
Right,
Yeah, that's good.
The agenda will be posted Friday.
yeah.
Kira, if it's the 19th and they always have an open thing for people to talk. So if you want, I'll talk and say, I'm interested in having us.
That sounds like they're gonna consider
Yeah,
the
it should be an agenda.
application.
It should be an agenda.
Yeah.
If it's not.
And she may only just be interested in open space.
Okay.
Yeah, I did only put an application in for open space just because I didn't want to overextend myself. I am still interested in Concom, that's why I came to this meeting, but I just wanted to just apply for one at the moment.
Okay,
Yeah,
Thank you, Kara.
did you hear all about our enforcement order situation?
She's been on the whole meeting.
Oh, we don't usually have those.
We do have at least one more question.
Do you have stuff for us to sign? You can pass it around if you want.
Yes. So some of the things we did not approve, so let me pull those out. Okay, 35 Cider Mill, we're still waiting.
Oh, do we need to talk more about learning?
Maybe two.
Learning, but I we need more.
75,
Yeah, we have to vote on that.
So right, but we can vote for Aston. Okay, these are the ones that need signing, and Chris, oh, we gotta vote on the vouchers too. Okay,
I can,
you can sign them.
okay, can we have a motion to vote on pass? That one vouchers.
So,
Maybe we might want to explain them a little bit first.
Koopman
Especially
Lumber,
when-
Bowman Landscaping, Mike Penco,
Well,
Oh,
DPW.
that's for postage.
Okay, well, Melissa and Bob sign.
We only need Chris to sign this.
Yeah, the other pages are, so yeah, the one has like mileage,
The bills.
community garden,
Oh,
I don't want to sign that.
thank you.
4,000 for plowman, and then postage. And then there is a second voucher, which Mike thought we might want to approve, but not pay yet. This is for the work at Mechanics Street, the bridge, or the boardwalk.
fiberglass reinforced panel. And the vendor is, we don't know exactly when he's gonna get there yet, but pretty soon. He has the materials staged, I think, at his residence. He has sent in some invoices he would like paid, but, and I think he understands that we can't pay him until the material lands in Upton, basically. So what I'm suggesting is that, and he's, he's a small private business, so he's put up this cash. And it's waiting to get paid. What I'm suggesting is we sign, or authorize Chris to sign a voucher, but not submit it until basically he begins work on the from the $4, which could be soon. So Bill, you know the actual, you can't pay for something you haven't received, right?
Well, we can't be paid for something. If he has the material already, we probably could and make an argument that the ownership of it is transferred to Upton and he's storing it. You have no concern about him absconding.
Yeah.
I mean, if he physically has it already, you could probably make an argument, so. He's holding it temporarily, and we got crap all over the place. So in his driveway or mine, I mean,
Well, I don't know what people want to do. You could.
so if it's starting, he's imminent, I would just like.
It sounds like it is. Lance communication was he's doing something in Bolton, and he's finishing up one boardwalk in Bolton, and then he's gonna jump and then jump back to Bolton. Could be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say, if you wanted to try to just have him put property on the up and
You already signed.
The other thing, Mary, is we decided where to pay, what funds to use for that, and we received I think $8,000 from SVT. And Mary, where did that go?
So yeah, I put $8,000 in the land stewardship revolving fund. And so that has, and we pulled the great truffle out of there, so, but it still has 15,000 in it.
Okay, so we could pay out.
We could pay out of there. Yeah.
That's actually, I'm glad you mentioned Trussell too. We need to talk about that. Not right now,
Yes.
These are all done.
Very. Yeah, it's had a lot of paperwork to prepare today.
They're all done.
So I think the consensus is, we'll hold off on that and. Yeah, we'll in us until he starts working time, but have it ready to go. Is that reasonable?
Yes, I assume this is.
All right, so I think we still need a motion to approve the bills as discussed.
We have a motion to approve the bills.
So moved.
Second,
All in favor? That's aye.
Aye.
Sandy, I.
Like I abstain from payment for postage.
Okay.
Martha, aye.
Okay,
Yes, yes, you are.
it's a unanimous vote of commission except for paying for postage. That's a majority.
All right. I had one more thing. I had an email from someone who lives actually in Milford. They're on the river. They're on the little river there. Mill River. And
Francis is the love of Mellow.
yeah, Mill River's nice. So his land is right along the river and water's actually, and I thought this was interesting. He said the water's really high. I'm like, what? He's like, oh yeah, it's like flooding. And I'm like, you're kidding me. So I didn't get out to the beavers. Yeah, so I'm like, I'm wondering if there's beavers going in there because like I told him, well, everywhere else is low, so there's something funny going on.
Well, that runs through like the railroad area too.
Right.
And they took out all the beavers along the railroad. So I don't know where.
Where is he?
Where it is.
Exactly.
He is north of the Fisk Mill Pond.
Oh, yeah.
And directly adjacent to Peppercorn. Although it may not be called Peppercorn, but directly adjacent to that.
Yeah, no, we've dealt with people in Milford who've had problems with rising water levels. Beavers have definitely been active where our trail crosses over to Power.
Yes,
And that water is still very high,
right,
and you still have water flowing over the trail in fact.
right, up there.
So
And
he must be behind,
He's below that somewhere.
up in, or above it.
No, he's below it. I know. Oh, let me think. No, I'm pretty sure he's below it because I looked at the map. Well, let me pull the map up.
Oh, if he's above it, he'd be in Upton.
No, there's some Milford stuff up above there.
The river is the boundary.
No, yeah, and he can be on the Milford side of the river.
That's town, that's Milford Conservation.
No, farther up. What's his name?
He's Fort Lee Lane.
For,
Yeah, and I found him. Yeah, no, he's well below the.
okay.
Lee Lane is a circle that's it's right below Camp Street.
What's his?
Is it the Milford part of Crockett Road?
No, he's off Lee Lane, which is right here. And here's Peppercorn, he's right on the, I don't know, it's one of these houses here. And if you scoot out, you can see down there is the Mill Pond, and this is, you know, the trail right there. So he's just south of the trail. And he says in his email, well, what he wants permission to do is remove branches and limbs that have fallen into the river that are impeding flow. Well, he wants to know if the town will do it for him. I assured him we probably wouldn't.
Has he contacted Milford?
He's gonna contact Milford too. And then he says, if the town's not gonna do it, can I do it? So I
He
thought
can do maintenance, if he can call it maintenance,
Yes.
he can do
He's
it.
in Milford.
he's in Milford. But the river's.
The water's coming from up.
The water's on the line.
So
If he doesn't, we don't see it, no problem.
Probably the town line goes right down the middle of the river.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was that how it works?
So I take out half a branch,
Yeah. You take out a half a branch. So,
If he can call it maintenance, say, that's, you know,
very. Thanks.
a few things out.
it's his opinion that the branches are impeding the flow, but I gotta wonder if there's beavers.
Well, that's what I'm wondering, like.
Well, you know, so that we're tapped in Camp Street. That's the stone bridge, right?
Yeah, that's a stone bridge.
Yeah, Marcel and I were there a couple of weeks ago or two, and certainly no evidence there that there's water being impeded so that it's backing up that far. So it was flowing pretty well considering the route.
So maybe there may be a smaller beaver dam kind of south of there.
Conceivably, or the fact is the stream is actually, the water is, in fact, freeze and impeded the water.
Right.
Like fell in or something.
Yeah.
Been very windy, though.
so the bottom line is, I would say, commission doesn't authorize it. Remove stuff.
That we don't.
Yeah, we ignore
Mary gets getting bugs, she's gonna respond and stuff. But
Yeah, wait a couple weeks before you call it.
I can ignore it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just ignore it.
yeah,
Something we can do for, yeah. Great.
Good job.
Probably called Upton because Milford
Yeah.
wouldn't do anything.
So let's do something. At least tell them. No.
So what's next? Open space, land stewardship? Mary's not done yet.
I'm pretty much done. Yeah, we did the documents. I didn't do minutes, so there's no minutes to approve.
So what do we have now?
Okay. How about land stewardship?
Open
Marcella,
space, and then we have to adjourn, unfortunately.
Marcella,
Yes,
land stewardship.
Wake up,
we had a work day. Yay.
good girl.
Alright. What's
You
next?
guys work so.
So from an open space.
wait, stewardship, there are some other things.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Mike always has something.
Well, it's important, Greg Trussell. Hey, I just bought like a $600 suit today, I'm wearing these pants.
Oh, boy, Mike.
I don't think they were very impressed when I walked in the Anyway,
But that was fun, wasn't it?
it was. So Stephens, Greg Trussell has been mowing Stephens. Our original budget was $4,000. He mowed about 3.5 days roughly. It's dry's going up there. We haven't mowed in the last few years. I would suggest that we appropriate some more funds for Greg to continue mowing up there.
I think it's a good idea. If you
So
can
moved.
get right in and can you do it?
Let's do it. So-
Yes, yeah, he's ready. to go. So I would ask, at $2,600 to pay for 2 more days. So that would be the ask.
Okay, so, second, and voice vote, Chris, I.
Tom, I,
Sandy, I.
Who moved it?
Sandy moved it.
Marcella, I.
Michael, thank you. And the other thing is that the sign for the Mechanic Street property, I just need to know I'm calling it the Schoolhouse District 9 or District 9 Schoolhouse. Just, right.
Schoolhouse, the schoolhouse.
I feel that in the
No, I think it should be the District 9, the schoolhouse.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, you're not part of the commission.
Oh, that's so mean. No.
If it was for Bill, that property would not even be the
I
town.
know, exactly.
I know, I'm just following protocol.
Okay.
I look back, I was looking at old school reports and district.
By the way,
schoolhouse
Is
here.
that how they say it?
So just one more time, it's, which is it the
District 9 schoolhouse.
District 9 Schoolhouse?
Oh,
Mary, write that down. So please, District 9 Schoolhouse.
I like the sound of it the other way.
It is you. So,
That's historically the way they did it, that's what I want.
and SCT is gonna fabricate the signs, or planning putting one in, following one in.
Oh, excellent, nice,
I'll get a apply for a sign for you.
very nice.
Okay, that's all.
You may just need to get permission. I have to talk to the, Pat Roach's approach, because we didn't need anything from the building committee, the building code enforcement perspective. And the selectmen have authority to permit signs on town-owned property, and every time I went in, I just told them, said, have fun.
Did Pat Roach retire?
Yes,
So,
But the question about kiosks, there's also kiosks.
yeah, no, I think he didn't care about kiosks or people. But he's no longer the code enforcement.
do we
The
have?
new building commissioner started.
That's right.
Who's the new building commissioners?
His name is John. I can't remember his last name.
You get my addition signed out tomorrow.
Wow,
Well, Mary could maybe give him a little bit of time and then ask him. And Bill, one of you guys.
Yeah.
And just let me know. I'll do the paperwork at this meeting.
the agenda?
If you're not, you can have mine.
Is it time for open space now?
Yes. Yes.
The owners of land off of Bay Mountain Road have more or less decided what it is that they want to do. So I guess they're considering either selling us the land or selling us a conservation restriction on about 60, 70 acres of 100 and some acres they have. So it's now time to do an appraisal. SVT has offered to pay for half of it, so I need to find money for the other half.
What does an appraisal cost?
Appraisal for that property, I will, this one probably $5,000 to $7,000 as well. Now, we're gonna have, I mean, I'm not sure this makes a lot of difference in the price, but we want to have the fee interest and conservation interest, both of those appraised, so that they have some idea whether or not there's a material difference between the two. I think roughly 5%.
I'll make a motion to authorize up to $4,500 to cost share and appraisal for the Bay Mountain Road property.
Second.
With the funds coming out of the conservation fund.
Second. Okay, let's vote. President, I.
Tom, I.
Sandy, I.
Michael,
Marcella, I.
Unanimous vote of the commission.
Otherwise, all the other projects are status quo, nothing's going on now.
That's great. Thank you so much. A lot of work.
So if they did a conservation easement, what does that mean? Like,
Well, it means it would protect the property, so they would have control of the what would be permitted activities. Now, so, I mean, we can negotiate an easement for a trail or something, which I think they'd be amenable to. But it would be private property subject, it would be just like Robert's.
okay, all right.
So, if, like, for example, they didn't want hunting on it, they would have the option, including the conservation. My guess is they're gonna find that there's no difference between selling as the restriction and property. Because there's usually a way to get back there. And I hope that please offer to sell it to us, but it's.
All right, William, thank you.
75 Elm Street, we forgot. So I guess, did you guys want to continue it and wait till we talk to him, or, because actually he hasn't paid his, he was gonna come tonight and pay his fee. So I'm not gonna issue anything until he's paid his fee.
All right, and what about the other one we have to vote on? They didn't come to the hearing.
That was.
That was them.
Oh,
Are we ready to give them a time?
Yes, we should give him a time.
I'm 7:30.
Yeah, so it's 7:15.
See, my insurance company, when the trees are, when the roof, Martha, when roof taken off, when my tree rebuilt.
oh,
So we need a motion for that 75
Okay. Make a motion to continue 35 Elm Street till 7:30 on the 13th.
so moved.
Second,
That's your wife, voice vote, Chris, I.
Tom, I.
Sandy, I.
Marcella, I.
So that's the unanimous vote of Commission President.
Yeah, and that,
Trucks. Trim back.
Sure, I didn't want to hear circulating between the shrubs now.
I know. If I didn't do that, they would cancel me.
Whoa, can't have that.
I know.
You gotta be safe, Chris, you gotta be safe.
They want to protect their asset.
Is that it? We ready?
We have a motion to adjourn.
Nah, I don't want it.
Don't move.
Second.
Thank you.